Good morning. This is Between the Lines on StayTunedSandusky.com. I'm Matt Westerholt, managing editor. I guess I'm the managing editor of the Stay Tuned Sandusky Substack. Today, my guest on Between the Lines is Michael Kaufman, a candidate for the Sandusky Municipal Court judgeship. This is take two.
Yeah, take two.
Because our first take was live on the Substack, but it didn't quite take. So we're going to start all over again, and I guess we'll start out with the same question. Why are you running for judge?
Yeah, well, good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me here. The reason I'm running for judge of the Sandusky Municipal Court is because I believe there's a real opportunity to make an immediate and positive impact on our community. And that's why I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. And what would that positive impact look like?
Okay, so look, I've spent the last 28 years of my life practicing law in this community and helping a lot of different people. And I really enjoy that. I think, let's say that's the first 2/3 of my career. In this last third of my career, I think that I have the ability to have a bigger impact on more people by playing a role in the court, because you touch so many more people as the judge of a court than you do as a participant in the proceedings.
And you're from Sandusky originally.
Yeah.
You graduated from Sandusky High School?
I did. I graduated from Sandusky High School in 1989.
And then you went to the University of Toledo?
I did.
For your undergraduate degree and for your law degree?
Yeah. So immediately after high school, I went to the University of Toledo. I got my Bachelor of Science degree. And then I went on to the University of Toledo College of Law, and I got my Juris Doctorate.
And you decided when you were 4 to become a lawyer, right?
No, not quite 4. I decided that I wanted to be an attorney probably somewhere between my freshman and sophomore year of college. Even though my father was an attorney and he was a part of this community for a long time, the idea of wearing a suit and a tie as a high school kid or even in my early college days didn't appeal all that much to me.
So when did it start to appeal to you, and why?
Well, I think it was somewhere around my sophomore year in college, and I just started to look at, what's my role in life? Where can I have the biggest impact, and where can I give the most back to society? And somewhere around then, I decided that I wanted to go to law school.
Very good, very good. And what is your expertise? What area of the law do you serve most?
Yeah, so I've been practicing law in the Erie County area for the last 28 years. And I've got a really broad general practice. We do estate planning, probate, criminal defense, civil litigation, real estate, business transactions. I represent a lot of different municipalities, and I've been a prosecutor in one capacity or another for the last 25 years.
Very good, very good. And why this seat?
Well, first of all, there's an opportunity. Judge O'Brien has been the judge of that court for the last 30 years. He certainly left his mark on the court and on this community, and he's aged out. What the law in Ohio says is once you turn age 70, you are no longer able to assume a new term of office. Judge O'Brien, I believe, has reached that 70-year benchmark, and his current term expires December 31st, so there's going to be a vacancy. Mm-hmm. Because there's a vacancy there and there's an opportunity, it seems like I'm the right person for the job to do the best job for our community. And
traditionally, courts are the place you go where you get punished. But you talked about, how the court can help the community. Can you expand upon that a little more? Sure, absolutely. Well,
there are two components to the court. There's the civil side and the criminal side, and we often lose track of the fact that there's a significant civil docket in the municipal court. But when we were talking last week about this, we talked about the criminal side.
Did we talk last week?
We did talk last week.
We did talk last week. You didn't get to see it, but I interrupted. Please go ahead.
Yeah, we spoke last week, and we talked about some of the nonviolent criminals who come through, or offenders who come through Sandusky Municipal Court. Those individuals who are struggling with substance abuse issues and mental health issues. They're not necessarily violent criminals. They're individuals who have deep personal problems that should be addressed. And I think the judge of the court has the ability to touch those people in a way and provide them with services that they need to prevent them from being recidivists and coming back before the court, and in the process making the entire community helpful, not helpful, but more safe, and that's a positive thing.
And so it's just an evolution of the court system. I mean, because like I said, people of my generation growing up, the court was where you went to when you got in trouble and it was going to do something to you. It wasn't where you went to for help. And when I say, is this an evolution, or is this part of an evolution, more and more police want to fight crime. They don't want to be psychiatrists. They're not psychiatrists. They're not psychologists. And so it's not a defunding of anything. It's more of perhaps a re-emphasis on how you respond.
Yeah, I think some of it's perception. Mm-hmm. You say that it was a place where you went. Your perception was that.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, but I don't think it's been that way. Courts have had probation departments for a long time, mm-hmm. and the goals of those probation departments have been to address the underlying issues. And sometimes things like mental health issues and substance abuse manifest themselves in criminal behavior. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to address the problem, you have to go after those issues rather than just punishing the individual. Because if you punish somebody who's struggling with mental health issues and you just return them to the street, what are they going to do? Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And oftentimes it's a multi-layered mental health problems. It's not just one thing, it's a multitude of things.
Right. And I'd also stress that, you need to make sure that you develop a system or a court that people buy into, because they have to want to help themselves. They have to acknowledge the problems that they have. So if you implement a misdemeanor drug court and a mental health recovery court, where these individuals have to understand that, look, either you buy into this program and you complete the necessary steps to fulfill your obligation in the program, then punishment is the other option. But you have to make sure that they understand that, and you have to find a way to reach these folks so that they buy into it, so that they're willing to address their underlying problems.
So, Judge Eric O'Brien, I guess I've been around as long as he has, because I remember when I learned that his name ended with an H, Eric.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's important for journalists to remember things like that. He's been in the judge's chair for more than 30 years.
No, not more. It'll be exactly 30 years. So he was elected in 1995, and each term is 6 years, and he's served 5 years, if my math is correct. And yeah.
So what will you keep the same, and what will you change if you're elected to the judges?
Yeah, great question, Mr. Westerhold. First of all, whenever there's a changing of an administration, the first thing that you need to do is kind of ease in. You need to take an inventory of what's going on there. You need to take a 30,000-foot view of everything. The good things, the bad things, and then from there make an educated decision that serves the individuals who come before the court in the best possible way, the citizens of our community, whether those are defendants or victims or civil litigants. So what would I change? One thing that I know that I plan to implement is maintaining a running audible record of all court proceedings. How we do that, when we do that, we have to go in there and again evaluate and make an informed decision as to what the best way to go about that is. But that's one thing that I think we need to do.
So that's recording proceedings.
Yeah. I think that every word that's spoken in a courtroom needs to be preserved, not only for those who are participating in the proceedings that given day, but for their attorneys next week or next year, or so that a member of the public can go in and see exactly what was said to whom and when. Only when justice is transparent are we able to ensure that it's being carried out fairly and efficiently.
So is that something you think you could implement fairly quickly?
I do believe so. The technology's there. Mm-hmm. And in fact, most courts, whenever you're in the courtroom on the record, it's being recorded. This isn't a knock on Judge O'Brien at all. Mm-hmm. It's just a stylistic difference. He does things a little bit differently, and he's been very successful in the way that he's approached things. He's been a very positive, a very popular judge, and he's got a lot of respect around the community. So this isn't a criticism of him at all. It's just, I believe that there's a better way to go about it, and that's one of the first things that I plan to do.
Very good. So that's recording all proceedings.
Yeah.
So right now, everything's recorded in writing in court orders.
Yes and no, you know, I mean, I think that...
But you don't have a big picture.
I think there's room to also improve the journalization of decisions in that court. You know, there are judgment entries, but they're not the same caliber that you might get out of some other courts. And some of that's technology, you know, moving into the current time frame. You know, we can also do other things to improve the efficiency of the court system. One idea I have is to implement an electronic discovery program. You know, right now, cases seem to drag out because of something called discovery. And to defense attorneys and prosecutors, this means exchanging the information that is relevant to the case. In today's day and age, there's body cam, there's dash cam, there's flock cameras, there's other video surveillance of almost everything that's charged. I envision an electronic discovery program where all of that stuff is gathered right away, it's downloaded to a central system, and then when the defense attorneys make their request for discovery to the court and the prosecutor, it's ready, available, so that the case can proceed much more quickly and efficiently. There are other courts around the state that have implemented this type of program, and it's something that I think is really worthwhile looking into. Because justice delayed is justice denied. And if we can give these defendants and the victims of cases as well an opportunity to have their matters heard sooner than later, then we're improving the efficiency of the system and the public's perception of it.
What else do you want voters to know? Why should they vote for you, Michael Kaufman?
I'm the most experienced candidate, Matt. I've been practicing law for 28 years in this community. I've been a defense attorney. I've been a prosecutor. I've handled extensive civil litigation on both sides of it. I'm the only candidate who has that broad range of experience. I'm ready, willing, and able to step in and do the job on day one, and I think my experience sets me apart from my competition.
Very good. And as judge, you would be in charge of the probation department. What changes, if any, do you see are needed there? You
know, I think that we probably need to make the probation department more robust. Right now, we're down to one probation officer. When I started working in that court more than 25 years ago, there were at least 2 different probation officers and a support staff. Today, I believe we're down to 1 probation officer. She does an excellent job, but I think she's overwhelmed. And if you have a more robust probation department, you can again reach more of those individuals who you're trying to address it, so that we can reduce the levels of recidivism that come through the court. Because that's what probation's for. You know, probation is for folks who we're not going to sentence to jail. These are people who we want to lay out a probation plan. We want to give them a series of goals that we expect them to meet over a period of time. And the probation department monitors that and makes sure that they fulfill their end of the deal. So I think having a more robust probation department will definitely benefit the court system.
And during the campaign, how have you connected with voters? How have you campaigned?
Yeah, so great question. Here we are, 4 days before the election probably. We've been out going door to door for about 13 weeks. We've gone to lots of different events. We've spoke to a lot of different people. And that's all that you can do is get out there and introduce yourself to people who don't know you, acclimate yourself to the people who you do know, and just let the citizens and the electors know who you are and what you stand for.
Have you enjoyed the campaign?
You know, at times it's been very rewarding, and it's also a chore. It's very laborious, and it's very time demanding. My wife and my kids and the other individuals in my campaign have been extremely dedicated, and they've been helpful. But it's a long process. You know, you take your petitions out in January, you turn them in by February, And then you're on this long road, and here we are coming down the home stretch.
And meeting with voters, has there anything that surprised you that's on their mind, or one individual case, or was there a similarity of concerns?
You know, I've really enjoyed meeting with the electors and voters out there, but the two themes that I see them commonly repeating to me is they want a judge who's fair and equitable and treats them with respect, and we'll put that in one category. And they also want a judge who understands that public safety is at issue in the cases that come through that court, and they're concerned about that. So those are the two issues that I primarily see when I'm out going door to door or when I'm out on the street talking to electors and voters.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you for being on Between the Lines.
Yeah,
Twice, you're probably the only guest who's been on twice in a week because we had a malfunction. Is there anything else you want voters to know? A last appeal on Between the Lines before November 4th?
You know, I would just ask everybody out there to vote for me on November 4th or before. If you're still undecided and you don't know which candidate is the better choice for you, go online, kaufmanforjudge.com, compare my credentials to those of my opponents, and I'm sure that you're going to find that I'm the better candidate for you and our community to serve as the next judge at Sandusky Municipal Court.
Very good, very good. And you mentioned you're married and you have kids. Your wife's name and how many kids?
Thanks. My wife is Sarah, and we have 3 kids, Braden, Cameron, and Reagan. Braden is in his 5th year at the University of Toledo. He's studying to be a teacher. Cam is in her junior year at Bowling Green.
Oh,
she plays softball, and she's studying business administration. And my youngest, Reagan, is in his freshman year at BG, and he's studying business
Wow, so you have 3 in college?
Yeah, 3 in college at one time.
Well, good luck with that. And no, that sounds great, though. You've got them on the right direction. Well, good luck in the campaign, I should say. Good luck on November 4th. I'll reach out to you one way or the other and maybe get a comment, win or lose.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate
the
opportunity.
Good seeing you, sir.
Good seeing you again, sir.
All right. That's it for this segment of Between the Lines. A reminder that Between the Lines is brought to you by Erie County Health Department. For working hard today for a healthier tomorrow. We appreciate the Erie County Health Department. Thank you.